Hi Year 11 Food and Health. In this video I'm going to explain to you how to complete your action plan. First of all, take note I've got open the all-inclusive assignment, GF and food presentation trends. And the action plan set out that I have here is as part of that, page 5. Okay. The action plan is 400 words maximum, so it's really important that you stick to that word limit and make the most of every single word. There's no room for waffle as part of your action plan. It's also very structured how you need to set it out. So I've got headings here to guide you and some examples and things to show you the sort of writing that you need to use. Moving down to the first section you need to fill in, I have the aim, and it tells you here to copy from task sheet the bolded section only. Now, because on this document we have everything all in the one, I'm going to just scan back up to the task sheet itself. So back up to page number 2 here. Okay, and you can see here we have the aim to identify the key issues in gluten-free cooking and creative food presentation, but the bold section, which is what it's asking you to include there, is to individually prepare a gluten-free main meal or dessert that reflects at least one such contemporary food presentation trend. Okay, so you would copy and paste this here down into the aim section. Right, moving back down to the action plan. So let's say you've now added in the aim. We are up to this section here, issues and strategies. Now basically this means the criteria of the assignment and considerations. So criteria that the assignment gives you and considerations of what you might consider or think about to meet the criteria. Okay, so the criteria of the assignment, for example, might be that it needs to be gluten-free or you have 90 minutes. All right, different criteria that you have to meet. The way you set this out is generally you have 3 or 4 issues and strategies that you talk about, or 3 or 4 main criteria. I'm suggesting for your first one that 3 is ideal, okay, to stick with the word count, the 400 words. What you need to do in the first sentence, here, sentence 1, state the issue, really plain and simple. The dish must be cooked in 90 minutes, or the dish must be gluten-free. The dish must be for a restaurant, okay? Just state what the criteria tells you. Following the first sentence, you have your strategy or something you might consider or think about. All right. So for example, I've got a whole example here. Sentence 1 is the dish chosen must be suitable for an exclusive 5-star restaurant. This is from a fake assignment. That's sentence 1. So that's the criteria or the issue. Sentence 2, what are we going to think about? Okay, it says professional presentation and high quality ingredients will be important will be important to research and include. Okay, so the first sentence is what the assignment tells us we need to do. The second sentence is what am I going to need to think about to meet that? All right, a new line for each of the different criteria that you identify. Now we'll make a point of saying that this section we will discuss in class. Okay, so this is something that we always brainstorm some ideas for together because it's the same for everyone. Everyone's doing the same assignment. All right, let's move down to the next section, the decision. And this is where it gets different for everyone because you all choose a different recipe to cook for this task. It asks you what recipe you've chosen. So you will title the dish here, okay, and what trend you are planning to show with your dish. All right, because it's important that you are very clear that you're showing a particular presentation trend. There's a tip here in grey. It says state the recipe in menu terms or glamorous terms. Make it sound delicious. For example, if you just wrote cheesy risotto, it doesn't sound as glamorous as something like 3 cheese risotto topped with baby rocket and pine nuts. That sounds a lot more delicious. All right, so simply write in your dish and your trend. Don't waste lots of words here. Next section, reasons for decision. This is where you now explain why you have chosen your recipe and how it links to or meets the criteria. So it's you explaining or justifying why you've chosen what you have. Okay. For example, again back to our pretend assignment, the risotto chosen is well suited to an exclusive 5-star restaurant as it contains 3 gourmet locally produced cheeses and is topped with pine nuts, which are reasonably expensive. The risotto can also be presented in a professional manner and garnished with fresh baby rocket. All right, so it's explaining how the risotto that this person has chosen fits with the criteria of being a 5-star restaurant dish. Important thing to note here, we also have numbers 1, 2, and 3, just like we did above with the issues and strategies. There's a reason for that. Whatever you've talked about up the top with your issues 1, 2, and 3, you want to link your reasons for your decision to your 3 criteria. So it says explain how your recipe choice fits with each of the above criteria that you have identified in the issues section. Issue 1 links with reasons for decision number 1. Issue 2 links with reason 2. So just as an example, if you had written or decided that issue number 1 was that it had to be a gluten-free dish, all right, down here under reasons for decision number 1, you need to explain how your dish is gluten-free and how it meets the criteria. Okay, for example, the dish is gluten-free because it does not contain ... Instead, the recipe utilizes rice flour. All right, so explaining why your recipe choices are suitable. Okay, moving down to the last section, implementation plan. We've talked now about up the top, up here, what you thought about. We've had the decision and reasons for decision, so what you've chosen and why. Down the bottom in implementation is all about how you are actually going to make sure your recipe meets the criteria on the day. So this is practical things that you're actually going to do or you plan to do with your cooking. All right, not just why you've chosen it, but how you're going to make it happen. So we have another example here. For the dish to be good enough for a 5-star restaurant, the recipe will be trialled at home and any flavour adjustments made. An image will also be used to guide professional presentation, and a large round white plate will be sourced from the home ec kitchen. So actual things that this person is planning to do to make it a restaurant meal. All right. Again, we have 1, 2, and 3 because I want you to link criteria number 1 with your implementation number 1. So back to our example for this assignment, if you're talking about the recipe having to be gluten-free, what steps are you going to take on the day to make sure that your dish is gluten-free? For example, to ensure my dish is gluten-free, ingredient labels will be double-checked, cross-contamination with any glutinous products avoided, and a label will be made so the customers can see the item is gluten-free. All right, I've just made that up off the top of my head. I'm sure you can make up something much better. But basically, the practical things you're going to do in the kitchen or before you get to the kitchen to make sure you meet each criteria. Like I said, in total, 400 words. So when you think about that, each section, 1, 2, and 3 up the top, is less than 150 words. So it's not much. That's why you need to get straight to the point and get as much detail in as possible if you're aiming for the higher grade bands. I hope that's helped. We'll go through it in class, like I said, and you'll have the opportunity for a draft.